was good in public speaking. I was good in English literature. I was good in economics. Each woman is unique by its own.
Yes.
It's just the way they should identify themselves.
If you are in a different place, you visit a local restaurant, you go to the local market, you speak to people, you gather so much about the cultural differences
So
and
how about the medium enterprise, if given a direction by large enterprise, can add some more GDP to our country?
Yes.
Strategy is one thing which plays a very, very crucial role.
Hello from Bangalore, India. I'm your host, Pamela, and you're tuned into Transition Story. Join us as we listen into inspiring tales from our guests, glean valuable learnings, and take action to apply them to our daily lives. This Diwali episode is incredibly close to my heart. Join me as we celebrate the festival of new beginnings and the triumph of light over darkness. We welcome Dr. Sanjana Mohan, a very dear friend and a daunting entrepreneur. Sanjana's inspiring journey from banking operations to the world of media and journalism is like a showcase for many who want to get inspired by her. She has broken free from societal norms. Now, as a CEO of Stimulus Research Services, she's all set to conquer the global stage, driving innovation and creating positive impact across industries. I just cannot wait for you to hear her story. So join me in welcoming Sanjana to the show. Hi, Sanjana, how are you?
I'm good, Pamela.
Yeah,
Pleasure.
welcome to the show.
Thank you.
All right. So, Sanjana, typically how we do this is we go back to people's childhood when we start discussing about the podcast. But given that you have, I know you well, I would like you to share a little bit about yourself as a young Sanjana who started with a lot of aspirations, lots of dreams, and how did you aspire and navigate yourself into this kind of a media and journalism world?
All right. So it's so much good to go back to your childhood and to understand that how a person was. I was a person who was really ambitious, aspiring to, and had an urge to learn more. And I was very, very particular about a few subjects, and some of the subjects I really hated. Fine. If I take you towards the schooling,
Yeah.
so that was the thought. And I was good in public speaking. I was good in English literature. I was good in economics. But the subjects I hated were science, mathematics. But that always has imbibed. But at the time while we were in school, the thought was that the medical students and the science students are the only the people who can make a mark. That's the thought today, even our country carries, that only engineers and doctors are the people who make a mark. Yeah.
Yes.
So, yes, definitely that. But to break that monotony and to make feel yourself unique, I have always chosen the path which was less chosen, to showcase and to highlight my identity very, very differently from others. That was one aspect which I still carry, and I feel I am unicorn among the people whenever I sit in my inner circle or outer circle or in the world. And I don't know, many women would feel they are unique, and each woman is unique by its own.
Yes.
It's just the way they should identify themselves. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. So rightly said. And I must tell this to our listeners. When I met you for the first time, I noticed that spark that you always wanted to challenge the status quo. So I was not surprised with your response when you said that you wanted to break the monotony. And, I come from a very similar background where I was actually compelled to get into a science stream because that's what the city where I lived believed, that people who get into technical education as their undergrad can have a better chance to create an impact. But nothing stopped you from creating that impact. So I can fully relate to it. And I understand you started with banking, but that was not the world that you wanted to belong to. And you quickly repivoted and moved into something else. Tell us a little bit about how did this shift happen? How did you really stay put and look for a career that was so aligned to your passion and your values?
So yeah, Pamela, I was an army man's daughter, and
Ooh.
you know how army men's kids are brought up fine with a lot of confidence, and the way the approach is very unique and different. Fine, definitely, I have been born and brought up in a very liberal thought process family, and we had all the back support way back. I might look young, but at that conventional thought process I have grown fine, where the schooling said that you have to be either a medical student or a non-mad or a commerce and arts, or only the people who are not good in anything they opt to go for arts. And at that stage I was had a fight with my parents that I would like to opt English literature as my subject, which I was not asked, because they said all rowdies come to the arts class and I don't want my daughter to be along with those batch of people. So I had no choice to opt commerce because I hated the subjects like science and mathematics.
Yeah.
Fine. So, yes, being a commerce student, and I opted to go for a banking career because that was a choice left. It was not a choice which I made, but it was a choice which was made with an intention. Let me see what best I could do in this. But definitely, it was a beautiful phase of my life. I learned so much in my banking, where it was not only the numbers. The strategy was something which made me compelled me to get attracted to number of different sectors, because I was always a person who used to think very, very differently and have a different perspective. So I was being called a strategist all through my life until date. Yeah. So
Wow.
that aspect of transition from the banking sector and towards the ITS sector and then towards the journalism had molded me. But I will tell you, a person who has exposure in multiple sectors is a person who can actually understand the dynamism of the businesses which are actually imbibed with each other. Every business is imbibed with each other.
Yeah, yeah. And we'll talk about it, because technology has changed so many things. This linkage is very prominent with
Right.
technology playing as a glue for all this to come together. And we'll talk about it. But remind me, Sanjana, where did you grow up? Which was the city? And, we're talking about 30 years back, 20 years back. What was the time frame like?
Yeah. So as I mentioned that I am coming from an army background, I birthplace is Assam. So that was my birthplace. And then I moved to Punjab, and then the circle moved to Delhi, and then to a country called Nigeria, and then to another country called Dubai, and then back to Mumbai. And then the places I went through: US, London, Europe. So travel is one thing which I'm really excited. I'm still excited because you learn a lot. Just it is, people say that they learn from travel. People learn from people of different cultures, backgrounds, traditions. Actually, it's the culture which makes you learn so much.
Yes, absolutely. I believe this very strongly. I myself have, lived in multiple countries and so resonate with what you just said. Because if you are in a different place, you visit a local restaurant, you go to the local market, you speak to people, you gather so much about the cultural differences and how people respond to similar situations, how
Yeah.
they use technology. A lot of things gives you a view of how a different culture can mean a completely different thing for people, whereas in India it may mean a completely different thing. So that cultural sensitivity that one acquires when they are traveling across the world makes them a much better leader, I believe. I seem to carry that cultural sensitivity with me when I'm talking to people from different geographies, and you seem to have gathered the same thing. And there's a lot of learning there. Back to your career trajectory. So now you lead an organization called Stimulus Research Services. You're the CEO of the company. What inspired you to name the company Stimulus Research? Is there any backstory of that name?
So, stimulus actually a word comes from a science chapter, which says to react. There is a plant when you touch me not is a plant. When you touch it, it actually reacts. So, I always wanted to have the vision of the company to be such that if anybody who is in touch with our company, we can actually evolve them through our research and data driven practices. We can evolve them and we can make them stand in a unique manner. And it really, I feel it's my, the first child of my life is Stimulus. While I'm addressing to my employees, I make them feel always that Stimulus is a female, a woman. I don't make it as a company as referred to as a gender as a male, so that they have more respect for the company. Because I think while you are addressing in feminine way to a particular entity, it becomes more respectful.
It is so nice to hear this. Stimulus personified as a female figure with so much respect during Diwali, which is the local festival that India is celebrating now. I'm just
Yeah.
clarifying this because many of our listeners are from across the globe. It also means Diwali is actually preceding Durga Puja, Dashera, which is like the death of the evil. The lady goddess Durga, she comes down from the heaven and she destroys the evil, brings peace to earth and its inhabitants. So respect, is part of our mythology and the history of the country. So thoughtful of you to have named your company in such a way.
Mhm.
So, well, Sanjana, now that you are on the global stage doing a lot of international activities, I'm sure you have to constantly innovate on how you are providing services and products to your clients. How do you approach this whole process of curating and innovating on the go, or being a firm that's providing services with a lot of focus on media, with a lot of focus on journalism? How do you really curate these innovative products and services? And what goes behind the scenes in terms of identifying market needs? And you mentioned that you're a strategist, so I'm sure you have some strategy tips for our listeners to share.
So yeah, that's a nice question you have placed, and there's so much in excess to it which I would like to mention. So yes, when you think about what is the product you have to put in the market, it's very important to understand the pulse of the market, understand what time the market is going through, and what is the important aspects which actually market currently looks into. Who are the people who need to be highlighted, which particular sector needs more attention, and which particular sector is not in the growth path. So the research actually makes it quite an easy subject for us. Our country, our India, is in a developing stage. We are not developed yet. So while we are developing, every sector has so much to do, and
Yes.
it would take more 6 generations more to put across to actually fill the gap which still exists in every sector. Even talking about the banking or finance sector, which is called a very organized sector, it also has so much we can bring the innovation. So it's very easy when you understand this mantra of research. It becomes very easy that, okay, this is a gap which I can fill in the market with my unique programs and practices. The only thought, if you can give the do best to the market, is that you have to be very sincere to what you
Mhm.
are delivering. You should know, you should have the understanding about the complete product. You should understand and master it well to actually tell people to opt for it. Fine.
Yes.
And also, you should have practiced it inside by your own through different platforms. You need to do the testing of a product, you need to do the dipsticks, you need to talk to the people, you need to ask them. Definitely we have transitioned from IPs. We created huge IPs. Being a journalist, I understood there were a number of questions which were not addressed at a forum. I would give an example of a huge IP we did in Hong Kong, where companies like Microsoft, Google, these all companies participated with us. So it was like, we always, I was thinking that how we can get small, medium, large enterprises come at one forum together, and how they can help each other grow so that the company grows. So today our company is led by only few of the business people. Tata, Birlas, Ambanis, they run the empire and the show of our country. So how about the medium enterprise, if given a direction by large enterprise, can add some more GDP to our
Yes.
country? We inculcated this event, huge event, where almost 200 conglomerates participated and exchanged their ideas and thoughts. It was just not an award function, it was so much more. When this subject was reached to Modi ji's desk and I got a letter of appreciation, it was a moment of change, that even this girl with a unique thought of creating something, a discussion, bringing a discussion point on the table, can make a change in the society. And again, Pamela, when I did another second conclave towards Dubai, it was talking that we have taken Indian luxury to the UAE market, because There are UA market or the Europe market are the luxury markets where people go and shop luxury. Here, my thought of how we can pull the attention of the international people on the Indian market by actually reviving the brands and taking it as not even if we can segment it as luxury, but we can segment. We curated a new name called affordable luxury, uber luxury, and the luxury, which actually brought attention of so many people that yeah, okay, we can have these variations, but this are called luxury and people would like to buy them. One brand, we took them to the UAE market and established them as international brand players. We were trying our level best how we can get the Indian brands, and everything is not just a conventional way. There is so much more towards digital and technology which plays a role. How tech has intruded in our lives as we are connected here on this platform is very unique. You never thought of some years back.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I just heard, I was just reflecting on it as you were speaking. The white space identification is very important. So that opportunity space that you spoke about, it's extremely important for us to understand how we can create a change in the market. And once you have identified that, then, really listening to your research outcomes and trying to capture the market based on that is what you did. And this takes me back to what you mentioned in the beginning. You were asked to join. Science used to be the stream where you could create impact, but here you are pursuing commerce, moving from a banking domain to something else, and you have been able to really create a phenomenal impact. So kudos to you for that, Sanjana.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, and Sanjana, following up, I would want to learn from you a little bit more about your challenges. So we discussed the good parts, right? You were able to expand to global platforms, global markets, and play a significant role in raising the Indian flag high by doing a lot of things like you did.
So somewhere I was, there were a number of challenges which has mentioned. I would never say hurdles, and you have rightly said that what are the challenges, because these are always there. We can overcome these challenges, but definitely I was somewhere. I am not a feminist though, but in this men dominating world, I was many times made felt that I am a woman. I was made felt that I am a woman and I am a person who looks good. So the brain would play a backhand role here. So, or somebody else is a brain behind. Or, twice it is checked, are you the managing director of the company? Which makes me sit back and say that, oh, here also I have to validate myself. Fine. I would definitely tell many other challenges, but this is a biggest challenge. And if these men are listening to me, I think they would not even connect with what this means for a woman who is not just running her own race, but also running around the race with all the men who feel, how could she do it? How could she make it? If she could make it, I can anyway do it. But no, it's not. It's a hard work. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of, dark nights you spend. And not even one day passes that I don't go and read about the latest technologies coming on, because I have to put my game up. And it's not a fight with anybody, it's a fight with myself that I have to create another mark of my company, because I plan to list my company in another 8 years. But the challenges are plenty while you are in this journey of technology and digital, because every day something new is coming in the market and the old is replaced by the new one. But that challenge is also an opportunity for our company like us, because yes, we have to upgrade ourselves, but that our journey never stops. And to be true, the only growth a company can do is through innovation. Any company who is not doing innovation would always be struck. So the challenge is that we have to evolve and we have to be very, very innovative with every day.
Sanjana, any closing thoughts on what you would want to share with aspiring entrepreneurs who want to approach the technology space and do something with their careers as being their own CEOs, managing their own companies? What advice would you give them?
I'm one person who would want people to definitely be entrepreneurs and enjoy this journey, because this is a beautiful journey. Let me tell you, entrepreneurship is the beautiful journey and it is a lot more. So, all the people who wish to enter this domain, you need not to just rush up. You have to create a strong base by understanding what exactly market pulse requires and curate the product. And in digital and technology, till the time you are not apt with it, don't enter. Be apt, be actually expert in it, understand it. If you understand it and then you come up with your own startup for tech, because you are uplifting other companies, so you cannot ruin their future. It's very important that you need to master the subject before you impart that knowledge to those people. Also, strategy is one thing which plays a very, very crucial role. How you can place these companies uniquely and how they should strategize on their positive aspects is
Yes.
very, very important. And all the people who are wishing to start these companies, they need to have lot of patience, perseverance, and lot of appetite to take the risk. I am a person, I like to run, and sometimes when the team is crawling, it's very impossible. I have to pick them up and I have to put more energy, and I slow down and I make them with my pace. And this is very important. You cannot, all the people I'm talking about, you need to put your feet on ground and your eyes on stars, and you have to not back yourself or pat yourself. If your customer is smiling and if your team is smiling, I think you have done a wonderful job. So I think a woman can be a wonderful entrepreneur. Again, I would state it, Pamela, I'm not seriously a gender bias. I'm not saying that men are not, but I think women make more better entrepreneurship because they can handle multiple things. They are taskmasters and they
Yes.
can do lot of things all together. And all women out there, I would give one message: please come out of your shell and contribute minuscule, and that ripple action would make a change in the society, and that change will bring a very, very new change in yourself, which would make you spark bright.
Thank you so much, Sanjana, for those nuggets of wisdom. It was a pleasure talking to you, pleasure hosting you, and great messages, great recommendations. And for our listeners, today is Sanjana's birthday. So let's wish her a very happy birthday.
Thank you so much, all the listeners. I'm glad. I need your wishes and blessings and your support for my company, Stimulus Research Services. And Pamela, this is seriously coming from you. As you're a wonderful woman, and whenever I have exchanged my thoughts, I had found myself at par, and it's really wise to talk to you whenever I got an opportunity. But definitely, we would catch up more, and exchanging thoughts with wise women always works.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely. We have to create our tribe and hustle together and grow together.
definitely.